Hi, it's been a while. I'll keep this first part quick. So many moons ago, I made a video talking about all of my D&D characters. I hate it. Garbage video. But the thing is, I still love my characters and I want to talk about them. But seeing as now I have 10 characters, I figured it would be more practical to just do 3 right now. I think let's start with Kale. Kale was adopted into a very large family. These 2 men who had been married for a while, they were very wealthy and they loved children, and so they adopted a lot of kids. So Kale grew up in a very large, loving household. Very healthy despite it being pretty chaotic, with there being 12 kids. Kale is just naturally very jovial, and while she's likable, she's a little much sometimes. Like, think theater kid singing really loudly in a Walmart, if that makes sense. And ever since Kale was young, she had this real passion for performing and music and being the center of attention. However, one day in her village, when she was just messing around having a good time, this entity attacked her village and stole her younger brother. They don't know why, and so she set out on an adventure with her party to go find her brother and spread joy to people who might need it. So that's Kale's whole backstory. I purposely made it pretty short. I wanted all of her character development and trauma to be happening in game. She kind of comes from a blank slate. For my other characters, while I might have, like for Tencel, I have a really complicated and long backstory for him, which I didn't explain well in my last video. Again, don't watch it. I'm this close to unlisting it. But for Kale, it's pretty simple. And while she's a little obnoxious sometimes, she's really likable and she's very honest and genuine. People like that about her. For her design, I wanted it to be kind of like a ringmaster's coat for the tail almost, but instead of 2 little thingies, instead of 2, what do you call those? I don't know. Instead of 2, there's 3. To make her look more like a sunflower. Under her outfit is kind of like a leotard thingy so that she can do tightrope stuff. Every part of her outfit is very she can take it on or put it off, or it can be used for her performances for some way. I originally had this blue face paint for her in her earlier design, but then in the campaign I just kept describing her with glitter, and so I changed it to just blue glitter instead. She's currently on an adventure right now with the Spice Cabinet, which is our campaign name. It's a long story. It's actually only a 2-person campaign, and we've adopted a few NPCs, and it's been, surprisingly for 2 people, it's been going really well, and it's very fun. So yeah, that's Kale Coin, my baby girl. My next character has actually been the latest character I've made as of this video, and her name is Sarah Finn, because Sarah Finn, because she's a awesome, or ha 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 ha. In a very recluse monastery not known much from the world, there is a group of very holy religious people, clerics mostly, who live in a very reclusive society, kind of like a monastery. With their abilities, they were able to foresee the arrival of a horrible monster that they named the Unkillable, because they knew that there was no real way to kill it, only to hurt it. They prayed to the gods for some kind of answer or some kind of weapon, and hearing their pleas, they sent Sarah, a little baby. She was not born, she was just spawned. They immediately knew that Sarah was their answer, and as she grew up, being raised by the monastery monks, she trained alongside the town guard to refine her skills. During this training is when she figured out that she could use her holy weapon. It's kind of like a normal lance or bow, but she can manifest it with light. So Sarah, being relatively young, she's 16, she's been sent out by herself to go kill the Unkillable. She's a little awkward and soft-spoken, but her biggest dilemma is that she just can't trust herself. She's told that the Unkillable can be killed or that it's not even real, and she just has this internal crisis going on at all times of, can I actually do this? Have they been lying to me? Can I actually kill the Unkillable? So she is just riddled with self-doubt because she's not very confident in herself. But despite all of this, she keeps going. She loves to help people. I wanted Sarah's outfit to be, fairly armored, but pretty simple. You can't see any weapons on her at all. She only has a little coin bag because she can summon her weapons. And she's loosely inspired by St. George. There's a lot of religious paintings of him depicting him stabbing a dragon through the mouth. I thought that was so metal. So that was kind of the inspiration behind her backstory and her design, and yeah. Sarah looks like a normal human, except that her eyes are inverted, and also she has a cute little halo. Sarah's bracelets can come out and become the weapon. The halos around her ankles can actually go below her feet, and she can kind of step on them. I can't think of how to describe it, so it's kind of like flying, but not. And yeah, that's Sarah. Last character, I'm going to be talking about Eris. and they have a pretty pretty tragic backstory. Good stuff. We love a traumatized character in this household. We love them. My favorite gender is traumatized. Eris, while growing up, while being pretty odd, was also really intelligent. She immediately did really well in her studies. After doing really well in education, they decided that they wanted to become a professor. While they excelled in a lot of different fields, the one that they were very attached to was demonics. That being like the study of the hells and of demons and devils. Not anything about magic, just the study of it. And they were pretty successful. They got a really good career in a very high-standing university, and while they were seen as kind of the kooky, crazy teacher, they were well-liked. Think like evil scientist vibes, but not evil. They got married to their wife, they had close friends and colleagues, and they had everything that they could ever want, and they were really happy. However, one day she flew a little bit too close to the sun. She was going through the forbidden section of the library, which she was allowed because she worked there, and she spotted a very particular tome that caught her eye. When she opened it and looked through the writings, they were excited to kind of decipher them and to study them, but while doing so, they gave themselves a little paper cut and unknowingly started a little pact with a very bad demon named Korioth. Korioth, this demon, or called Kore, latched on to Eris over the course of a few months. Not only changed her emotionally and got into her head, but also she started to physically change. Unbeknown to Eris, this was the start of a very, very long possession. While she was in control most days, there would be some days where Korioth would completely take control and ruin her career and ruin her relationships and her marriage. And over these months, everything in her life that she had worked so hard to build started crumbling apart. And one fateful night, Eris completely fused with Korioth. Eris and Korioth now sharing one body, not happy, not having a good time. Eris is extremely unhappy with herself and blames herself and hates herself for letting this happen. Despite their constant smile, they are always miserable. They are so ridden with sadness and regret and shame, and they truly believe that nobody can ever love her ever again. So if you know the horror game Mortuary Assistant, which I love so much, the premise is that you're a mortuary assistant and you're slowly getting possessed by this demon, and that's kind of the vibe that I wanted for Eris. When I drew them for the lineup, every time that I drew her standing up straight, it just didn't look right. But then I thought, after the really horrible, gruesome possession and transformation, they probably can't stand up right. Like, their bones are probably really screwed up. So yeah, I didn't do that great of a job explaining them, but I hope you get the gist. Throughout this video, I've shown art of my characters that people have done. Go check out their pages. My friends are such amazing artists. Oh my gosh. Okay, thanks, bye.